Some women are more amenable and agreeable to the idea of polygyny than others. This is just a fact. But no, she had an anxious attachment style, and she was quite possessive over him before. Fascinating, wallah. Absolutely fascinating. So I'm gonna bring them back on. And by the way, yeah, I can see some serious copium being snorted in the comments right now. You guys have got your white powder copium that you're just sniffing. That's like, give me that coke, bruv. Give me that copium. You flipping losers. Get off the stream. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
We connected and reconnected, so I don't know if it's working again. Is it still choppy?
Much better. Much better.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, please do carry on. Tfaddali.
Okay, so you go first.
So what I was saying is that we got
you said you had an anxious attachment style. And
I still kind of do.
You still do.
Okay, I do still. I still have an anxious attachment style. I'm working through it. But I was very possessive. I'm a type 2 Enneagram, which is considered to be one of the most possessive, clingy types still. But for me, when in my first polygynous experience, I was not an ideal first wife. I tried my best, but I failed miserably. And I held a lot of guilt from that because I didn't want to be like considered that kind of woman. Someone that just didn't submit to Allah. I really wanted to submit to Allah and be pleased with what Allah has given me and what the path in life, He gives for me. And I never want to be a kind that like resists what Allah has legislated and what He has allowed. And I know that Allah allows polygyny, and it's not my place to prevent my husband from accepting other wives. But that was very, very, very difficult for me. And so I started to make a lot of dua to Allah to allow the jealousy in my heart to sort of fade away and to just accept whatever Allah grants for me. And so I made a lot of dua for that throughout the years. I made a lot of tawbah, and I just did a lot of inner self work to understand, why do I feel jealous? Why do I feel so insecure? What is happening within me that makes me have these feelings? And so I did a lot of inner work throughout the years. And so my husband and her got married. He was gone for a week with her. I guess like six days he was gone. And I wasn't necessarily, I guess I had jealousy in there, but it wasn't like before what I would describe jealousy as. It was like, I really just wanted to press an eject button and have her gone away forever. Like if there was a button that I could press that she can just like leave and not be like existing, I would have just totally pressed it.
I have a question for you. No Strings Nikah, that got your attention. By 2030, 45% of all women between the ages of 25 to 45 will be single and childless. The reasons for this are many, but the bottom line is this: a lot of women will be looking for a nikah arrangement that better suits their lifestyle preferences. No Strings Nikah. If you're a full-time mum who doesn't want to be a full-time wife, No Strings Nikah may be for you. Download the app now. If you're a man and want to learn more about No Strings Nikah and network with like-minded brothers and sisters in an exclusive private community, download the No Strings Nikah app now on the App Store and Google Play and start your free trial. So you were much younger then.
23, yeah.
23. Your husband would have been 23 as well. Would you say that your husband is a better version of himself now to deal with polygyny as opposed to back then?
Oh yeah, now he's definitely more of a man, I guess you can say. He has more of that he has more of himself figured out. Definitely he has himself way more figured out. I guess I was the kind of wife that was along with him in his humble beginnings. And I was kind of jealous of him taking on another woman while he's figuring himself out. I liked being that supportive figure to him. And going through the hustle with him, going through the he didn't have himself figured out that young. No, he did definitely not.
And that's quite normal. That's quite normal. He's young.
Even now he's not there yet. He has huge goals. I guess he has a lot of goals, like bigger, larger than life ambitions. And he's not there where he wants to be, nowhere near where he wants to be, but me and her both highly believe in him. He's very, very, very ambitious. He's actually like the most ambitious man ever, I would say.
I hope you're paying attention.
Yeah, we're
to you copium snorters. I hope you're paying attention.
Extremely. I guess that's one thing. He's extremely ambitious.
We're like the first investors.
Yeah. No. Yeah, he's very, very ambitious. I believe that you guys will know him one day, inshallah.
Yeah.
Not through like the podcast, but like
You'll know about him.
yeah. So he's extremely ambitious. And I guess both of us really believe in him now, even though he doesn't have the results to show for it right now. We believe in what he will become, inshallah. And
So
who
he has the potential, and I see the work. I mean, that's part of the reason why I also signed up. So I can also answer your question differently. So I'm very different than her. I'm not as jealous.
I'm not jealous anymore though.
Yeah,
But I was innately I'm a jealous person, but now I'm not jealous anymore.
I think he also does a really good job at, okay, so anytime her and I might have like tension, like he literally sits us both down and wants to like talk it out. And he'll like if she has something in her heart and she's trying to tell him something, like he's like, okay, say to her what you were saying to me. And like he'll do the same thing with me. And so everything's out there, right?
Yeah, we're
like
very honest with each other.
Like everything's out there. It's like, why are you feeling this way? And what you're feeling, it's like, this is like, I mean, I don't know. He kind of hates it when we get like that because it's like a waste of time. It's not productive. The other thing is he's kind of like a machine. Like I would describe him as a machine. He's like he's like a processor. He processes everything. He tracks everything. And that's kind of like how I am. And one of the reasons why he even married me is because I kind of provide, like, I know some of the skills that he needs to do the work that he's doing. I have a background in tech. And like first, this was before we even decided to get married. I wanted to help him in what he's working on. And he was like, why don't we just get married? You know,
yeah,
let me just
my husband, he does not talk to women at all. He doesn't, I mean, he speaks to women.
Let me just pause this 1 second. Sorry,
go ahead.
I was on a live stream, and I'm talking to the chat now. I was on a live stream with Sister Naima last week, and Nasser was on, brother Nasser Al-Alamin was on there. And he mentioned that if he does take another wife, she has to bring value to the table. And the word that he used was assets. And the chat went absolutely wild. Like, what the French toast are you talking about? What do you mean assets? And I said to him, can you define that? What do you mean? And he wasn't referring to property or money or things like this. He said, look, I'm happy. I'm content. I've got everything, everything I want from a woman. If I'm going to take on the responsibility of another woman, she has to be providing value of some sort, because I'm going to be having to take care of her, provide for her, so on and so forth. And the reason why I'm bringing this up now is because Sister Sabia, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Sister Sabia has just mentioned that an asset that she brings to the table.
Many assets. She's very skilled. She's very skilled. So she has many assets.
Right. So to the sisters who were getting super triggered on Sister Naima's podcast about this, like, well, why should I have to bring any value to the table? I mean, the audacity. Wallah, shame on you. Why should I have to bring any value?
Why wouldn't you want to have value in the first place? Like,
right. This is a great example of how you can add value to a man's life, particularly. And you know what's hard? It's one thing getting on the team of a man who is unhappy with his current wife and he's looking for another wife. Yeah, it's easy to get on that team, but it's really hard to get on the team of a man who's content and happy with his wife or wives. That team is super hard to get on.
Oh yeah, and my husband definitely, he was okay with just me and him. He wasn't seeking polygyny. He was okay with just me and him. He needed to know, like, why do I need to introduce you into my life, and why do I need to be spending on you and housing you? He needs a reason for that.
A purpose.
A purpose, yeah. And so
he had a purpose, and like he
kind of. Shout out to Nasser is in the chat. Shout out to Nasser. Yes, please carry on.
We all think that this was also like something that came from Allah, because we met at a time where he was also like, I don't know, kind of like the writer's block version of like what he's building right now. And he needed somebody else who was on board with what it is that he's doing and also has the skill set. So I was okay, so by the way, I was working 9 to 5. You know, I was in New York City. I was living on my own, and you know, like I kind of like lived my whole life kind of like taking care of myself. So I knew like the ins and outs of like, you know, I was very street smart, and I'm also very tech smart. So when he heard about like you know, how I felt about my position. I was like, yeah, I don't want to, but I have to. I still have to, you know, I still have to live. But I was very interested in the work that he was doing. And when he started asking me more questions about like what my background is, that was very intriguing to him. And he started asking more questions about, well, do you know this? Do you know how to code in this? And if I asked you to start learning this, would you be able to? And so like just recently, like he set me up with like, you know, a monitor. He's gonna get me a Linux terminal. Like, you know, I just started like learning how to like code in Rust and Vim, and you know, he's very like much looking forward to this. This is what he needed, you know.
Yeah.
And if he's going to work with a woman, you know, he might as well marry her in order to be in close proximity with her.
Listen, and I'm just
He isn't. Yeah.
just talking to chat right now, guys. Yeah, if you're gonna work with women, let me tell you something. Yeah, if she's not your wife, she's not loyal to the job, bro. I'm just putting it out there. Yeah, if you're gonna take on a woman and try and integrate her into your business somehow, she needs to be married to you. Even Tate said this when he was running his webcam business. It was like the girls that were loyal to me were the ones that I was sleeping with, and the girls that were not loyal to the business and to me were the ones that I wasn't sleeping with. And just the way that it goes. So it makes perfect sense, Yani. Instead of just to hire you, well, I'll just marry you. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in general, my husband doesn't chat with women ever. He's very, very like strict on gender segregation in terms of like like one-on-one. So if he was going to be communicating with her also, and
she was always on the line.
Yeah, I was always on the line and stuff, but it was because I'm not into tech at all. I'm not into these kind of conversations at all. And they had, you know, with the same beliefs in Islam, with everything, it was Allah really just, I believe, sent her. And that's like another reason
we were on a, like, him and I were literally on a call for like how long were we on the phone for?
The first night me and you talked, or you and him
the first
talked?
time when him and I talked about tech. It was like 6 or 8 hours, and like we were talking about like keyboards and like just really nerdy stuff, and she was like, I'm so thankful because when he talks to me about this stuff, I fall asleep.
Yeah, he used to talk to me about these kind of, like, he used to talk to me about his hobbies, and I would love, you know, I like to support him, but it just would make me sleepy because
yeah, so I'm like his you know, like techie nerdy dream girl, you know, that he's always wanted, you know. And
I can't provide that.
I can't provide the things that she provides, for example. So like
he always calls me his comfort. I'm the kind, he calls me like sort of his therapist or his comfort. Like when he has things on his mind, he comes to me and he talks it out, and I'm very I listen to him. Even, you know, I don't mind him sort of venting or ranting about his feelings. I like the emotional realm of things, and I think that you don't really.
Yeah, I can't. I'm like him though, because he can't, like, okay, so him and I are like too similar to do that. Like when we start talking business, it's like both of us are like serious. Like so he can't take her seriously because she's really cute.
Hey, don't say that. Okay, no, don't say that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. No, you talk. Okay, you talk.
Okay, so I feel like she's more nurturing and like definitely.
I guess light feminine and dark feminine.
Oh yeah, so she likes to describe us both where like she's like light feminine and I'm kind of more like dark feminine, but I have a lot of like, I don't want to say masculine, but like I guess
you have a lot of more like assertive.
I'm more assertive. I'm more like goal oriented. And I'm very logical and judicial like him. I'm less emotional and more logical. So that really serves like, you know, a purpose. Like when he needs to get like work done, that's where I come in very handy. Or if he needs to bounce ideas off of me, like I can provide that for him too. And yeah, like he gets like different things from us. So I feel like that's why we don't have that jealousy factor in us, because we both provide like different things for him, and we both have different roles. Like he also mentioned to us that like each of you guys have different roles in my life. So like we're very happy with the roles that and he's kind of like an employer that way. Like he sees the weaknesses and strengths of his employees and he really harnesses on that. Like he's not going to put me in a position where I'm weak in something, but he's going to see what my strengths are and like give me.
What I find very interesting is that you've used the word employees a couple of times, and you don't not only do you not feel some type of way about that in the negative, actually you say it, I can hear a smile on your face, which is very interesting because typically women don't like being spoken of in such terms of.
Well, I had a boss before. I was working a 9 to 5 and I hated my boss. You know, I had a boss. His name was Tom. He was a middle-aged white guy, and I used to hate working for him. You know?
Shout out to Tom.
But I love working for my husband. You know, I love doing stuff for him. It gives me a lot of gratification. So
SubhanAllah.
yeah.
And guys, look, and to you sisters who like you're seething right now. Yeah, you're absolutely just having a fit, like an epileptic fit of some sort. This is what it's like to be married to a man who is that guy, who you view and feel is that guy. Everything just falls into place naturally.
And I think that has to be, sorry, I think that's a reason why I don't feel as jealous as I used to, because earlier on he was way more figuring himself out. And now that he has more results and more direction and more clarity in what he wants to do in life, I don't have that same kind of I don't know, I guess before, I don't want to say this about him, but I guess he had more of those like the beta qualities. Not, I don't even want to say that, but he was just very I don't know.
He didn't have direction.
He was looking for his direction. He was
looking for purpose.
He was trying to figure out who he was and what he was meant to do. And then he found
something that happens to a man after the age of 30. I'll never forget the first time I ever heard this, because I've experienced this, but the first time I heard it was Kevin Samuels, and he was like, the light bulb switches on in the mind of a man after the age of 30. And I was like, oh my days, that is so accurate. I don't know what it is, but for sure, a man in his 20s is not the same as a man in his 30s. And once again, a man in his 30s is not the same as a man in his 40s. 40 is the age of ashudda, of maturity. So, you know, that's a natural progression that happens. And you guys in your instance, you know, it's only going to go up from here, because he's coming. Yeah. He's not even in his prime yet.
Exactly. We totally believe in that.
We are rooting so much for him. Like, we're actually rooting for all like each other. Yeah. You know, and it's just such a great setup. One thing I also wanted to mention, like, he does not waste time arguing with the women. Okay. Like he's not how do we explain, like, if he's trying to get something across, it's like we have to be quiet and listen to him. Okay, like not a single word. And
it's like perfect obedience. We have to sit down and be like, yes, and that's the only answer he'll accept. But not in an abusive way. I don't want anyone to think he's great.
Because her and I will go back into the room and we'll start laughing about it. You know,
I'm doing a lot. Yeah, like, we'll just support each other.
We'll support each other. We'll go back. We'll, like, you know, mimic him and stuff like that. You know, and like, you know, we think it's cute. You know, because like we find it very attractive that he holds frame. But then at the same time, like, you know, like I'll crack up if she gets in trouble and she'll start laughing if I get in trouble. But then, like, you know, we're very lighthearted.
Until after you're not so sad anymore. Like if you're like after we get our own emotions out, then we're like supporting each other and laughing.
Yeah, and then he's also like, he doesn't hold he's not like, you know, Mr. Rigid mean guy. You know, he's extremely sweet. He's
very soft side.
He's very kind. You know, he's very gentle. But you know, he's also very rigid.
He never lets anyone tell him what to do ever.
Yeah, he doesn't like it if you yank the steering wheel, you know. He knows, and also he knows what he's doing, but he's also not like opposed to like ideas and criticism. Like if I think that something can be done better, like it's kind of like, you better know what you're talking about if you're going to come with an idea, right? Like, he's open to it because he's a functional guy. Like, if what you're saying is going to be more functional than what I'm saying, then by all means, I'll take that idea.
I mean, to build on what you said earlier about macro and micro, there are, in my experience as well, dealing with women, is that there are things that women see that I don't see. I see the bigger picture, but they see the details. And you do need to know the details, because the macro is all well and good, but if you don't know what's going on in the details, well, as they say, the devil is in the details. And the way a woman's mind is wired is detail oriented, whereas the way a man's mind is oriented, leadership, is macro oriented. But then the two they go nicely together. I've experienced this myself. I'm like, oh man, I never thought of that. I didn't see that. So if you like that clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.